Today, we're going to be installing the Banks Boost Tube Upgrade Kit to my 2025 Toyota Tacoma. Now, this kit fits 2025s and 2024s. I've got it laid out on the table down here for you guys. We've got the hot side over here, we've got the cold side over here, and the tools and things that you'll need to be able to do this. Now, the big question is, why do it? Well, it's to deliver more air to the turbos, right? It's got a big, giant, huge 3-inch tube, 409 stainless steel, and the purpose of it is to increase airflow, which in the end provides better performance for the turbos. You know, turbos love airflow, right? Also to increase the longevity of the turbos themselves. Now, there's a few key features, and yeah, I've got a list down here. I can't remember all this stuff. Number one, it allows the turbocharger to spool up faster. A huge increase in size over stock. The hot side volume is 50% larger than stock, and the cold side volume is 35% larger than stock. It has a consistent 3-inch diameter tubing for the best airflow, 5-ply heavy-duty silicone couplers, mandrel bent aluminized steel construction, spring-loaded constant tension clamps, because you don't want your clamps flying off while you're driving down the road. And lastly, a powder-coated finish to resist corrosion. Pretty simple install, shouldn't take too long. It's going to take me longer because I'm filming. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. First thing that you're going to want to do, and we're going to start on the hot side, is pull up the intake. Now, to do that, it's pretty simple. Unlatch the two latches over here on the side. And I forgot, make sure you disconnect the battery before you do any of this. That takes a 12mm socket, the negative side. With the battery disconnected, we can continue on. Went ahead and pulled the clamps. We need to disconnect the MAF sensor right here, just this little push down thing, and it'll pull right out. And then to pull off this part, you also want to release this clamp over here. The wiring is connected to the top of the box. And then a 10mm socket down here to go ahead and loosen the clamp so you can pull the whole unit off. A little tip for you, that air cleaner is on there. Takes a bit of force, and you do have to back the screw almost all the way out, about as far as it'll go, without fully removing it, to release the clamp to be able to pull that off. So give it a little bit of oomph and it'll come right off. Now, we need to remove the existing tubes, or tube in this case. And to do that, it has these little quick disconnect kind of retainer clips on it. You want to push both of these out, not all the way, just a bit. And they move pretty easily. Matter of fact, that one is going to come right off, it looks like. And then you should be able to just pull this sucker off of there. Once you get the right angle. Yeah, there you go. Again, you don't want to take them all the way off. You just need to spread that clamp a little bit to pull it off. Over here on the other side, going to be a little more difficult to see probably. You want to do the same thing. So kind of pull the clips out away and then just pull the tube out itself. And that's about it. Give yourself a little bit of clearance to work. And that removes the existing tube, as you can see. Next up, you want to grab one of the quick disconnect couplers. And for the hot side, it's number 42334A. You can see there, they are labeled. Turn it upside down, I guess, so that the grooved part is at the top. And we're going to go ahead and put, in other words, this orientation, the Banks name should be upside down. We're going to grab one of the gaskets, or O-rings, I guess, and we're going to coat it with some of the compound, the grease, that came with it. So grab yourself a pair of gloves, put a nice little dollop on the end of your finger, and then work it all around the O-ring. And then it goes inside the groove on the inside of the quick disconnect coupling. you want the slotted end to be facing down, and you're going to put it inside that little slot that I showed you a couple minutes ago. So work it into the slot, just like so. We're going to do the same thing to the other one. There you go. All right, now we're going to go ahead and remove the retaining clamps from the OEM tube that we removed. It just pulls up and out underneath this little retaining clip that's on the side here. So you just want to kind of pry that up a little bit and then pull the tube, or the clamp rather, right out of there. Now we go back to the quick disconnect coupler. You want the Banks logo facing up at you like this with the set screw hole on the top. You're going to grab one of the retaining brackets and we're going to put that on so that it ends up like this, attached to the Banks unit. Just like that. Pretty simple. Next up, we're going to grab one of the set screws, go ahead and sit it on your tool, and put a little bit of blue Loctite on there. And that was, of course, provided in the kit. And we're going to go ahead and put this in one of the couplers and screw it in so it's almost protruding through the other side, but not quite. You don't want it to go through the other side, because obviously we're going to tighten it down a little bit later. So put it in there just like so, if you can see that, so that it's not quite through the other side. Next up, we're going to go ahead and mount this to the front of the truck where we remove the stock tube. Now, you just want to lower this in and snap it right on. Next, you want to grab one of the hump hoses and a clamp. Put the clamp over the hose, obviously, and then slide it over the quick disconnect that you just put onto the truck. So you're going to want to slide that all the way flush to the front, and then we'll move on to the next step. Now, with an 11mm socket, you just want to snug it down. Next up, you want to grab the other quick disconnect coupler, the one with the set screw in it. Line up the set screw with the slot here, and then you're going to push and snap it right in place. Just like so. Give it a tug, make sure it's on there good, and then we're going to go ahead and tighten that set screw down. Nice and snug. Next, you want to grab another clamp, and we're working at the front of the truck, and go ahead and slip it over the hub hose that you've already attached to the front. And then we're going to grab the tube, and the short end, or the short bend part of the tube, is going to go into the hub hose that you just put on, with the long end facing towards the engine. Next, it is time to put the shiny tube in. You want to keep it oriented like so, with the bend towards the bottom, if you will, like this, kind of at 12 o'clock, I guess. And the longer end of the tube, remember, is going to point towards the engine, the shorter part towards the front. So you want to go ahead and slip that in, and then you want to give it a pull back, because you don't want the two tubes, this tube and the quick release tube, to be touching. So you want to slip it in until you feel it kind of overcome the hump in there, just like that, and then pull it backwards some. Then we're going to go ahead and loosely tighten down the clamp on this side. Next up, you're going to want to slip a clamp over the tube here and over the quick disconnect, and we're going to go ahead and attach the other piece of tubing. Notice where it says Banks, that's going to be facing the front of the truck so that it looks like so once we get it on. Alright, once you've got the tube muscled into place, takes a little bit of muscle, but it actually was not as bad as I thought. You want to go ahead and torque down all of the clamps to, I guess it's 5 inch-pounds, or 5 pound-feet I should say, or 60 inch-pounds, depending on what sort of torque wrench you have. So we're going to do that next. Then we'll put the intake back on and we'll move over to the cold side. Okay, it's hot out here. Let's take a look at the cold side. The tube is right down here, so you got to kind of finagle. Definitely less room over here than over there. Same kind of releases on both sides, those kind of spring kind of clip-like things. You can see the other one sort of right back in there. We're going to go ahead and spread those and pull that tube off just like we did the other side. And then as far as the couplings, it's the same procedure. You want to go ahead and lube up the gaskets, slip them inside. Orientation is like this with the part number, you can see there, upside down. And they're going to go in the slots right up here at the top. You can see that slot right there. And then one set screw with a little bit of Loctite on it, just like we did the other side over here. And I do still have the set screw, so that's a good thing. And then we'll be ready to start putting things inside the truck. Okay, after putting all of the pieces and parts onto the quick disconnect, we're going to go ahead and slide the one without the set screw on the front outlet on the truck, in the front. Next up, we're going to grab the one with the set screw, and slip it over the outlet on the engine, right down here. It's going to be a little hard to see, but I'm going to go ahead and snap that one on, and then we'll tighten down that set screw right through here. So you want the set screw to line up with this slot, this opening here. I'm going to go ahead and put it on. Next, you want to go ahead and tighten the set screw down, and here's a tip for you. Get yourself a 3mm socket with an Allen key on the end of it, and use a few extensions. If you do that, you can actually reach down there with your wrench as opposed to trying to finagle just the socket itself. Much, much easier to do. Okay, next up you want a coupling or a hub connector, I guess. And let's see. Go ahead and finagle that down to the quick disconnect coupling on the engine. And then you want to go ahead and slide it over with the clamp connected. After you get it positioned, you want to go ahead and snug down the bracket, the clamp right here, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, next up, we're going to go ahead and grab the remaining tube, and orientation is very important here. You want to make sure that you have the end with the more severe bend, if you will, pointed towards the front of the truck. It's also going to get another one of these hump connectors on the end. To put this on, it's suggested that you spray the end of the tube with a little bit of brake cleaner for lubrication, obviously, so that you can slip this all the way on until the end is even with the end of your hub connector. So I'm going to go ahead, spray that, we'll put it on the bench, push it all the way through, and then move on to the next step. And this is what it should look like when you're done, with the end even with the hump connector or hump gasket here. Next, go ahead and grab a clamp. We want to go ahead and lay that onto the front disconnect or quick disconnect. And we're going to leave that there in anticipation of fastening down the tube in a minute. Next, you want to put a couple of clamps onto your freshly assembled tube in anticipation of tightening them down in the truck. And then we're going to go to the truck and slip the engine side in and go ahead and snug down the clamp. Again, making sure that you pull back a little bit so that this end is not up against the quick disconnect tube, or coupling rather, inside the truck. Okay, got everything set in place. You do have to muscle the hump fitting closest to the front, and I found myself underneath to kind of push the bottom part, alternating between the front top part, worked the best. I couldn't do it just from the top. So a little tip for you, you do have access without taking anything off the bottom of the truck to reach up there and kind of push that black hump fitting, if you will, so that it goes over flush with the quick disconnect coupling in the front. You can see I've got the clamps all set. Now I just need to tighten everything down, torque it to 5 foot-pounds or 60 inch feet, I guess, or inch pounds. And then we'll be done and ready to take it for a ride and just do a quick test. Okay, I have been through my obligatory 15-minute ride. No check engine lights, nothing weird. So, my final thoughts on this project. Number one, dresses up the engine bay. Love the red tubing or pipes under there. Looks awesome. Increases airflow to the turbos. That's always good. You want your turbos to be able to get as much air as they can, or turbo, I should say. And this definitely does that with a 50 and 35% increase. I swear it feels like the truck is a little bit quicker. I know that's nothing that Banks claims, but it felt that way to me. It's probably the placebo effect. I don't know. This is supposed to lengthen the life of the turbo as well. It's just a nice, solid, good mod, I think. Something that anybody can do, because if I can do it, you can do it. Took me about 2.5 hours, something like that, maybe 3, primarily because I was filming. I think if you weren't talking to a camera, you probably could get this done in about 2 hours, maybe less yourself. This is the first time I've ever done any kind of a mod like this, so I took my time. I'm a rookie at it, and I was brand new. Highly recommend it if you're looking to increase turbo airflow, increase the lifespan of your turbo, and also add a little bit of aesthetic beauty under the hood of your Toyota Tacoma. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.